Welcome to another edition of The Box Seat. I'm Adam McGrath and joined by Mark Olmos. Mark, 8 races to take a look at Belmont Park. We've got some big races to get through as well and some interesting conditions that we may be faced with.
Yes, welcome to all of our viewers, Adam. As you mentioned, the conditions around Perth, not ideal at the moment. We've just had a lot of rain recent times heading into the race day, but we do have an outstanding 3-year-old event coming up, and it's the Belmont Guineas over 1,600 metres. Top end form looks outstanding. The likes of Gatting and Variation going head to head.
Yeah, it certainly does look to be an intriguing race. We will get to that in the second part of this program. Let's take a look at the conditions that we are going to be faced with. The Mooble Railers in an inside position. We're expecting some strong easterly breezes as well, and just keep an eye on the track rating with that rain that Mark mentioned throughout the week in Perth. Let's get straight into race number 1, and it is an event for the 2-year-olds over the 1,300 metres, and Mark, a pretty impressive last start winner.
It certainly is, Adam. The Tab Touch plate over 1,300 metres. We'll have a look at Street Fury.
Longer prices starting to sneak right up along the cutaway section here at the 275. Down the outside, UMI also begins to run on at the 200 now. Torotia still in command. Leads the way from Disruptive as Pike goes to work on Street Fury, and it responds as well. And Street Fury dashed up quickly. It put paid to Torotia Disruptive and comes away with an effortless win. Street Fury...
A very nice performance here by this filly by Street Boss. I know that you and I were quite keen on her going into this race, and I think a lot of it came from the confidence that we got from that first up run. Not often do you see a 2-year-old have a spaced gap. She raced on the 24th of December and then didn't race or trial until the 3rd of June. Came out and just did everything that you'd want to see from a horse. Was only beaten 3.5 lengths by Illustrious Tycoon. I think those form lines are definitely going to hold up. The last up victory is very good. I know you were big on the ride by William Pike. That was sensational. And I think stepping up to the 1,300 metres is going to suit.
Yeah, they did plenty of work in the run, and William Pike just let a few go around him, and he knew what he had underneath him. When he unleashed her, the turn of foot was there, and it was a mighty turn of speed. Really looking forward to seeing her step out over the 1,300 metres. Also, Ukbar Jack comes out of that race, the son of Ukbar. He's a stallion from the UK, won the Jersey Stakes at Royal Ascot a few years back, and he's producing some very, very fast horses. This galloper was a bit green in running, but then put his head down, pinned the ears back, and hit the line very strongly. There was a lot to like about it. You saw it in the replay there. He's my clear second pick.
Yeah, it's interesting to see what to do with Ukbar Jack. I was actually wondering, just from remembering the race, whether I'd have this horse on top. I want to see what they do this start, because in the trial they led, and that's what we thought they may try and do, but they had that tricky barrier. From barrier 4, do they try and do that now and lead a race like this, or do they now know that they've got to turn a foot when ridden cold and they race that way? So, bit of unknown for me, but looked to be a really nice type. You could see the closing speed it had there in that replay.
There's a first starter in this race as well from the Robert and Todd Harvey yard at Immortal Light. You might recognise the name of the Dam Bloomy. Immortal Light is a half to Jatumi, which you see later on, and Do You Dare the Stakes winner. So this galloper's got a fair bit of upside. I'm looking forward to seeing him on debut, but as I step out over more ground and as a 3-year-old.
Yeah, had plenty of trials as well. We know that Robert and Todd Harvey are both very patient with their gallopers and ensure that they are 100% before they go to the races. Should be a horse that gets better with distance as well, and as you said, as it matures and gets a little bit older as well. I'm going to go with our replay horse in the first, so number 9, Street Fury. I think she is the one to beat from 2, Ken 2, 3, Lob City, and 1, Little Hercules.
9 on top for me as well, Adam. Street Fury from the 5, Ukbar Jack, 3, Lob City, and number 11, Thunderstruck.
Race number 2 here at Belmont Park. It is a 1,000 metre event, a 72 plus, and Mark, an impressive last start winner, and conditions should suit him again.
Yeah, what a different horse he is at Belmont. Let's have a look at it. Winning last start.
Booted clear by 2 lengths, Delicate Miss, Black Dynamite, then came Pretentious Chant. Dainty Test coming to the outside. She's starting to wind up now at the 250. It is the leader. It's beaten off Agachar Cruz. Here's Dainty Test down the outside. It's it in front. Dainty Test taking a while to get there, though. I don't think she will today. And it's it all the way.
Strong performance again by It's It, as you mentioned, back to Belmont on conditions that were certainly suiting leaders, and this horse just loves rolling out in front. It's going to be those type of conditions again with the strong easterly breezes expected, but there are a couple of weight swings in this race. So Woollybar gets 3.5 kilos and a Delicate Miss gets 2. Pretentious Chant gets William Pike and a 5 kilo swing as well. There will be a bit of pressure on in the early stages with Agachar Cruz now second up, Record coming into the race as well if that horse can jump, and even more aces. So It is going to have a little bit more pressure applied, but after that win you could definitely have it on top.
Yeah, there are a couple of weight swings in there, but Pretentious Chant, I think he peaked last start. It was a very good effort in very tough class, but I think that's about him. I can't see him winning here. Number 5, More Races, though. There does look to be a lot of speed in the race, and whether they decide to lead or not, he always jumps so cleanly and puts himself there. But I think they can take a sit in behind them, ride that speed, and be the one in the finish that just gets over the top. I'm really looking forward to seeing him return, especially after that sharp trial. Also, number 3, Woolly Bar, as you mentioned, Adam. Last start, just did a few things wrong in running, which we're not used to with Woolly Bar. Just threw his head a couple of times in running and let down nicely, but we remember it was a very firm track on that day and you needed to be on speed, and it just ran away from them, as you saw in the replay. But wouldn't be dismissing Woolly Bar, and this is a very, very tight race.
Well, a huge forgive run as well, because it returned with mild lameness, Woolly Bar. So when you take it was only beaten 3.3 with a 3.5 kilo swing here in that mild lameness. I think you can have this horse on top, and that's the way I'm going to go. From 2, It's It. Number 8, Pretentious Charm, and 5 more aces.
5 on top for me, more aces on the return here. From number 2, It's It. Number 4, Delicate Miss, and the 6, Bombs Away.
Race number 3 here at Belmont Park. It is a 1,200 metre event for the 3-year-olds. And Mark, I know we're looking forward to the 3-year-old race coming up a little bit later, but this just shows how many good gallopers we've got going around in this age group, because there's a lot of class in this race.
It's a good race, isn't it, Adam? We'll go back a couple of starts to watch the Celt winning and have a look for top of the class flashing home late.
A length and a half to the Celt, then Storm Dancer, top of the class, is going to have to pull out a big run at the 200 though. Hall Dora, Snow Lord, the Celt. Now Sweet Aura gets that late inside run, top of the class, keeps on coming. The Celt hit the front, top of the class, closing. Sweet Lord, the rail, they went to the line, the Celt.
Well, as you mentioned in the previous race with It's It, this is just a horse that loves being at Belmont. The Celt just gets to settle, likes to lengthen out down the straight, and Kate Fitzgerald's been riding this galloper really well. She had another winner for Vaughan Sigley on Wednesday as well, so she'll be feeling high of confidence. Vaughan Sigley had a double to end the day. His stable's going along very nicely. And I think the Celt can run a really good race here again. Has had the 5 runs at Belmont Park, has finished in the top 2 on all occasions, has finished the top 2 at the track and distance from its 3 runs as well. Does make some of these gallopers worse in the weights. You mentioned top of the class, it gets a 3.5 kilo swing, but it's going to be in the position that you really want to be, out in front and certainly giving itself every chance to win.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to do with top of the class. That win a few starts back was a breathtaking 4 starts ago. She put away a quality field as well, just hasn't recaptured that form. She gets the nice run here. I wouldn't be surprised if Jared Noske just pushes a bit forward and settles her in the first half of the field. Number 4, Karlaki Miss for me though. This filly is in very good form, and I think she's got a bit of improvement to come. She was caught wide from the 800 metre mark and still ground to the line really nicely behind Luke's Gold.
Yeah, I love that performance last start, and just so consistent in recent starts. Again, I think this horse is better when they don't have to lead, and with the likes of the Celt in this race and some other speed, I think they just get that gun run behind them, and she's got the turn of foot to finish over the top of them as well. So I'm going to put her on top. From number 11 here, Man Time, 1 the Celt, and 3 Verve de Vega.
I've got number 4 on top as well, Adam. Karlaki Miss. From number 3, Verve de Vega, a really good trial recently. Number 1, the Celt, and 11, Man Time.
Race number 4 here at Belmont Park. It is a 1,600 metre event, a 72 plus, and Mark, a pretty tough race to separate most of these guys.
Yes, our replay horse for the Schweppes handicap here is right down the bottom. Number 11, Luke's Gold.
2 lengths, War God, Dane Finn. A gap then, Grey Enigma, Dark Royalty. New Time, though, holding them at the 250 is War God. He starts to knuckle down and he's closing down the margin, War God. War God races up, goes to New Time, hits the front, flashing down the outside, Luke's Gold. War God in front. Look at Luke's Gold flying, but the post will beat him. War God held on.
Very impressive performance by this 4-year-old. Just continues its consistency, and again just puts forward the case that Vaughan Sigley, everything he's training at the moment is going along very nicely. It was a good run, beaten a long neck by War God. Not many made up that type of ground throughout the day. The start before that, it beat Karlaki Miss, the horse we both got on top in the previous. Gets in here with only 52 kilos, and I don't think we'll be as far back as we've seen in recent runs. There's not a lot of speed in this race. Gloryland will make sure there's some tempo, as will Woodsville, but the rest are pretty happy to just sit behind them. So I think his turn of foot can play a big part in this.
Yeah, and don't be concerned about out to 1,600 metres. I think he's the type of galloper that will get it. And he proved last start that he's up to this grade, which is the most important thing. War God's a very good galloper. Strong form lines around State Solicitor and the rest of those 72, 78 plus gallopers. So don't let that turn you off this galloper. He's a real live hope here. Number 1, Stocks, Adam. Now, this is 4th up into the preparation. A bit of rain around. This race looks perfect.
Yeah, I agree with you, and the conditions are going to play the big part, isn't it? If it does continue to to rain in the west, I think Stocks will be a very nice bet. Fred Kersey takes the ride here, so carries 57.5. Of course, is a listed winner. He's had 7 efforts on a soft track for 3 victories and 2 placings. And as you mentioned, I think being 4th up in the prep now, they've just continued to increase the distance, increase the fitness. This horse on top of its game can play a big part in this race.
Adam, I've got number 4 on top, Woodsville here. This galloper has been in such great consistent form. Back to the mile, it should be rock hard fit. They'll roll around the front there. I think there are some other leaders in the race, Adam. We've got the likes of Ros Martini in there. They'll probably push forward. And of course, Gloryland is a mad leader. So I think he'll just sit right off them. And I think he can be there in the finish. He deserves a win this preparation. He's been always thereabouts. And that last start behind Mickey Two Toes, Group 3 weight for age form lines now. So they stack up really well. Who have you got on top?
I'm going to go with number 11 here, Luke Scott. I think you're right. You can't dismiss this horse. I love it out at the 1600 metres. 1 Stocks, 4 Woodsville and 8 Ros Martini.
I've got number 4 on top here, Woodsville, from number 9, Gloryland, 1 Stocks and 11 Luke's Gold.